In today's video, we are recapping Civil War, a powerful anti-war film that brilliantly captures the dehumanizing effects of conflict. Directed by Garland, the movie received a 7.4 rating on IMDb. Stay tuned and watch our full recap. Please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and thank you for watching. Lee Smith, a Reuters photojournalist, was watching news coverage of the president's speech. He points out the opposition team as so-called Western forces. Even though he puts on a fake smile and says those things, he is aware that his days will be very short in this world. We can see through the director's eyes that very disastrous incidents are happening, with people getting killed all over the country. During the Civil War, America was divided into four main groups. Most states followed the government's rule and supported the authority. However, the Florida Alliance, consisting of 8 southeastern states, operated independently. The third group was the New People's Army in the Northwest. And finally, the Western Alliance, which included California and Texas. The 4 members of a journalist group traveled from New York City to Washington, D.C. to meet the president. The Florida Alliance is not going according to the president's plan. States are in internal conflict. The president disbanded the FBI and ordered an attack on American citizens, angering people across the country and leading them to reject the president's authority and act independently. The filmmaker emphasizes that Texas and California are more concerned about their fascist president than their differing political views. It's unclear why these 2 states were chosen. Even though it is not the focal point of this movie, all these things are connected when the matter is the Civil War. Here, we get to see some real dedication of the war journalists who risk everything to get the perfect shot at the brutal truth of war. Lee Smith and her co-worker Joel came to New York to cover the fierce clashes that had been going on. A young journalist named Jessie was injured during the riot while taking photos. Lee takes her to a safe place and gives Jessie her press vest to protect her from the rampage. Suddenly, a woman appears on the scene with an American flag. She is a suicide bomber intending to harm everyone in that location. After the explosion, we see Lee capture the dead people on the ground killed by the bomb. When we see Lee trying to get the brutal situation through her picture, Jessie, as a young journalist, still needs some time to feel the actual brutality that is happening. That's why, instead of getting a picture of those dead people, she takes an artistic photo of Lee taking photos in black and white. At the hotel, Joel and Lee are planning to go to Washington, D.C. to interview the president, whose status is uncertain. Despite Sammy, an African-American journalist, warning them that the militia will shoot them if they go near the president, still, they are determined to go. Returning to the room, Lee reflects on the brutal scenes she had witnessed while covering similar situations. As she showers, the filmmaker shows a flashback of a black man being set on fire while trapped in a tire, a large group of people being killed by forces, and Lee feeling shocked that these events are now happening in her own country. The following day, the 4 members of the journalist group begin their trip. During the journey, they encounter crashed cars and deceased individuals on the highway, as well as severely bombed houses, serving as stark reminders of the horrors of the Civil War. After a while, they stop at a petrol station to fill their car. Curious, Jessie steps out of the car to explore the surroundings. A young gunman follows her. Lee follows him since nobody can be trusted in these dreadful conditions. They observe 2 almost dead men hanging from the wall, and the gunman calls them robbers, which is complete nonsense. Lee tells the guy to stand in the center of the 2 males so that she can take a picture of how people are getting tortured. In the car, they hear the audio of the president dismissing the peace summit in the background while showing the terror of the suburban area. Lee and Joel are determined to get an interview with the dictator, as they have no proof about those broadcasts and audios if they're new or pre-recorded, and the president is dead already or not. On a college campus, a fierce firefight occurs between the militia and the rebels. Lee, Joel, and Jessie document every moment of the intense situation. When a rebel is shot, Jessie takes continuous photos of the man's struggle to survive. At the same time, Joel records the incident in his notepad. The filmmaker effectively portrays the intense circumstances faced by the people involved. After reassessing the situation, they continue their journey and stop at a refugee camp for the night. The next day, they arrive at a place that appears strangely normal, as if the locals are unaware of the civil war that's been happening. They enter a clothing store where the salesgirl tells Joel they don't get involved with the war thing. Jesse finds a top for Lee to try on. After Lee tries it on, Jesse takes a beautiful picture of her laughing in the mirror. This moment is twisted as Jesse captures both Lee's joyous and tragic moments through her camera. Upon closer observation, the audience can see gunmen guarding this mysteriously peaceful place from the rooftops of tall buildings. The journalist group noticed a car following them. They saw two guys, Tony and Bohai, who worked with Joel. Tony got into Joel's car while both vehicles were running, and Jesse also got into Bohai's car in the same way. While driving, Lee sees some military stop the vehicle of Jesse and Bohai, and a truck full of dead people is thrown into a mass grave to bury them. Here, we see a nasty soldier wearing red shades asking questions to everyone, and if he doesn't like any of the answers, he just shoots them. He kills both Bohai and Tony, as they are not from this country. When he's about to shoot Joel, Sammy bumps into Jesse with the car, causing both Jesse and the soldier to fall into a grave filled with numerous dead people. Sammy is then shot abruptly and eventually dies. No one can accept Sammy's death as he was dear to all of them. They ultimately arrive in Charlottesville, where tanks, helicopters, and soldiers are prepared to strike Washington, D.C. Some other journalists tell them that all the soldiers have departed the White House, leaving only private security to safeguard Mr. President. Finally, the trio arrives in Washington, D.C. to acknowledge the ultimate conclusion. The intense fight between Western forces and Union soldiers is happening in the Lincoln Memorial. In this unfavorable war situation, the three warriors follow the Western force through the streets. Then, Joel, Jesse, and Lee enter the White House with the troops. When they come to the press briefing room, they see the president's advisor to negotiate things so that the president can surrender without getting killed. But the forces don't care and shoot the woman. Everyone in the hall stays in the corner to avoid gunfire, but Jessie continues to do what she always does. She stands in the center to take pictures. Lee covers Jessie, and a bullet passes through her body. While lying down, Jessie captures every step of Lee's final moment. Without getting any chance to mourn, Joel dragged Jessie to the Oval Office, where the forces got the president and pulled him down to the floor. As Joel demands some words from the president, all he says is, "Don't let them kill me." At that exact moment, Jessie captures the mind-blowing photo of the forces shooting the president. Here, the filmmaker shows the different aspects of the people during war. When people are getting killed without a good reason, other groups are living their lives chilling and shopping while being in the same country. It is your choice. Do you want to feel the pain of ill-fated people or live your life peacefully while ignoring the bloody massacre?